So, why are we going to look at political, social, intellectual context? Because it's important for you guys to know about. Alright? It's important to know what was happening in the Muslim world at the time. One of the foremost scholars of Ghazali, there are two great Ghazalians who live in England. Okay? Interestingly enough, one of them is in Cambridge, and the other is in Oxford. Alright? Cambridge, you've got T.J. Winters, Shaykh Abdul Hakim Murad. Okay? If you see a book whose author is T.J. Winters, buy it. Okay? The second is lesser known, is Shaykh Afifi, Shaykh Muhammad Afifi al-Akiti. Okay? Who is a lecturer at Oxford University. So Shaykh Abdul Hakim Murad is the founder of the Cambridge Muslim College and a lecturer in divinities at Cambridge University. Shaykh Afifi is a lecturer at the college, the Oxford Centre for Islamic Studies, which is Oxford University. And these are the two great Ghazalians in England, basically. Okay. The other group of people, generally speaking, that have a great Ghazalian tradition and will know a lot about Ghazali are the students of the Habaib. So people like Shaykh Ibrahim Osi Efa. In this, we're talking about this country. Shaykh Ibrahim Osi Efa and his group, I suppose, because the way of the Habaib of Yemen is very Ghazalian. Okay, it's a very Ghazalian approach. One of the very few places where the Ihya is taught systematically, letter by letter, line by line, is in Tarim. In Yemen. Okay? Shaykh Habib Umar, as part of his Rawha, which is his afternoon session, will teach from the Ihya. Okay? Alright. But understanding the political, social, intellectual context, very important. So Shaykh Afifi once mentioned to me, it's always a piece of wisdom I will always remember. He said the one thing that students of knowledge don't study, that they absolutely must study, is history. Some of you will have heard me say this before. We don't study history. And because we don't study history, we study works out of their context. So here is Quduri, the Mukhtasar of Imam al-Quduri. This is its commentary. Okay? You go to a student of knowledge who said, I studied Quduri, and ask them when Imam Quduri lived. Just that. Ask them when he lived. He lived around the time of Ghazali, as it happened. He lived around and about the time of Ghazali. Okay? What was happening in the Muslim world at that time? What's important to know? When Ghazali, during his life, the Crusades occurred. Because the first crusade happened during the life of Ghazali. Okay? Less than 100 years after his passing away, the Mongols were ravaging the entire Eastern Islamic world. Okay? What was happening at his time? It's important to know so that you gain a sense of context. So that you can understand some of the discussions that take place. Why are they taking place? Why is he focusing on this? Because that was very relevant in his time. One of the great failures, you might say, of the Muslim educational system is the stripping it of context. I've got some friends from Syria, and I asked them, well, what history did you study? Can you recommend a good history? Remember this conversation? Can you recommend a good history textbook? And he's like, We did kind of study history. But most of the history when you're in the Arab world is, when does history start? What's the beginning of the dawn of history? Whenever that dictator took power. That's when history began. And you'll study in detail the history, the life of that person, of the Asads, or of the Mubaraks of this world, or whatever it happens to be. And yeah, there's some stuff that happened before that, but it was like Stone Age stuff, You've lost history. And if you've lost history, and you're studying historical texts, you've lost context. And if you've lost context, you've lost the text. If you've lost context, you've lost the text. And if you've lost the text, you've lost the guidance that's contained within it. And if you've lost the guidance, then by definition you're misguided. Okay? So studying history is important.